this is coming from all across the universe, but like I've heard this a little bit too. Like, has the establishment of the guitar sphere changed a little bit? Like, you know, because we've always lived under this umbrella of like, you know, all the information is disseminated across, you know, Fender, Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Taylor, Martin, and then you go to guitar.com, Guitar Player, Ultimate Guitar, all the mainstream sort of media sources and mainstream manufacturing companies.
Where they're paying for ads.
Or has the new establishment become the guitar YouTubers? It's
a tangled web.
It's tricky.
It's a tangled web.
It's a tangled web.
We're bound to make someone angry here.
Well, that's the whole point. Let's cause a little con. Let's stir the pot. I mean, a lot of this got stirred up. I was watching that CNN interview with Tim Dillon the other day, and I've been telling everybody, even if you don't want to watch it, just go into the comment section. It's so funny. It's lighthearted too. It wasn't like they were destroying this reporter. She did an okay job, sort of, in her whispering type of interview. And her sort of millennial cloaked. It was a little strange, but it was like watching a younger man sort of educate an older seasoned journalist on how the world works. It was really entertaining.
So mansplaining.
Gay mansplaining. It was wonderful. But then I started thinking about it. It sent me right into the guitar world because like we all lived as we grew up in this thing. Like you know, it's like the magazines were everything. Right?
Everything. And if it said it in that magazine, by God, it was the gospel.
Well, because I was thinking about it too, because guitar.com is getting ready to go back to print for the first time in weird. 4 years. Like I think they're partnered with NME and maybe Music Radar. I can't remember, but I love that. I used to always. That's the only reason I'd go to Barnes and Noble.
Dude, I'd go and I'd read them all, and I'd agonize over which one to buy
because
I don't have enough money to buy one, right? And then I lived by those things. I didn't have like a teacher, you know, and I learned so much. I would read those things cover to cover, every word, every ad, everything.
No, so that everything, and you didn't really realize like sometimes you're reading articles that might be an advertisement too. Like it's just how it's how
Editor's Pick Award. Oh my God, I gotta have it.
I didn't. None of us understood how that really worked.
Has anybody ever bought something from an editor's pick?
That was Derek behind the camera.
Just want to know has it ever worked? I mean,
I'm sure.
I feel like at one point it did, but now everything has an Editor's Pick Award. So
it is. Everything's great. You don't really see like a tanked review. No. It's not like movies. Like when M. Night Shyamalan had like The Last Airbender come out, I was like, oh Jesus, close to zero.
Ouch.
That's one of the best, worst movies ever. Right. It's so bad. But and I love Shyamalan's first two movies. That's all I'm gonna say. No. And then we talk about all the major manufacturers too. Like, you know, everything's coming out from them. That's the way it's disseminated as well as the information. But again, now like, you know, with the advent of Rick Beatos and Rhett Scholes and like, you know, old Phil. I was thinking, you know, not Phil McKnight, but Phil Mickelson, the great guitar YouTuber. Yeah, McKnight. Maybe they're the same person. That'd be so cool that Phil McKnight was Phil Mickelson. Sorry.
All I know is Phil said I had the best Magnetone videos.
That was really nice too.
YouTube.
And he has one of the best slight draws.
He does.
On the golf course as well.
That's right.
Wonderful guy.
Just to
confuse a bit. So let's jump on this for a minute. So first off, the question we posed, I think I already have an answer. I think the answer is no. The establishment is still the establishment. All of us little guitar YouTubers, like from us to Andertons to Music Villa, and all the folks that have the shop type based ones, all the way up to like the Rhetts and the Ricks and the Phillips, there's not an establishment there. Like, you know, some of us are actually friends.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, we're friends.
For sure.
But there's not some underlying group meetings where we talk about things.
Baxter, stop doing the hand signs. I really think it's funny when people are like, "You guys are doing the Illuminati hand."
The Illuminati. I was trying to think of that word. I love that. I wish there was like a Illuminati of.
They have not contacted us. Unfortunately, I'd have much more cool guitars.
I really want to be involved in that too. It's just lame.
Not me.
No, because like you have billions of dollars behind this establishment already. You don't have that behind these YouTubers. As big as us YouTubers and any of us might get.
I think the closest thing, right, is, and we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum, is that when a new product launches and every YouTuber in the universe gets one, and it is kind of weird to be like, no, I hate this free thing they sent me. That's a weird kind of line. Everybody's got their opinion about that, right? And I think most people are just trying to put out information, not necessarily say yay or nay. At least the channels that I enjoy, that's kind of the ethos, I think.
That's the joy of what we do. Like, we put out what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And like, what's interesting to us, hopefully it's interesting to you as well. And what excites us and what we're thinking about, we don't have a corporate dictate from above, and there's lots of new products coming out. Think, hey, you need to talk about this new guitar that we've been making for 40 years that has a different color and a slightly different pickup, but you have to talk about like it's the greatest thing that everyone has to have right now. We just don't do that. It just doesn't, because sometimes it's
You've
exactly
said this
said.
before. If you see us not talk about a thing, it's probably because we either, maybe we don't not like it, but we just aren't that excited about it, or just aren't,
No, and some stuff like we'll get excited about and we're going to talk about it. Some stuff we'll get excited about. Here's the caveat to it, and it's fun. And later down the road, we realize we didn't like it as much.
Sure.
And you might hear us talk about that. There's certain guitars that have come out that we've done that with, and it's like, oh, it was fun. That's why we sometimes don't release on release day.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes we think we're going to talk about a thing, and then we see 8,000 YouTube videos about it. We're like, what's the point? Just adding to the noise a little bit at that point.
Unless it's just something we're like super Jones about. And it's usually not to sell that SKU, because like we don't sell like massive amounts of these. Like we're more like a boutique shop, so we're selling a few of these things. We're not trying to sell like thousands of units, or hundreds of units, or dozens of units. It's maybe like 5 units or something less, or 1.
But I mean, all that said, still back around to the point is that it's not like there's some secret cabal of guitar YouTubers who decide, are on the take and shilling for the
Well, here's the other
big
problem
boys.
with that. It's like we're all sort of the independent guys. We're all sort of vanguards. And we're all sort of like loners, and like we like to do our own thing. We don't like group think that much as we are all buddies in a weird way. We've become, like, not all of us, but some of us have become friends, and pretty good friends. But
there are channels who would see our custom shop stuff and say, and just being super honest, that's dumb. I would never spend that on a guitar. And there's stuff that we see friends of ours doing on the channels that we're like, well, we don't care about that at all. But that's just the nature. That's why this thing is fun, right? Because there's something for everybody. If you like,
didn't you guys have a thing on the live stream where someone's like, it's stupid to spend over like $1,200 on a guitar?
Not stupid, immoral.
Immoral.
No.
And it's like,
and you can debate both things all, but yeah, honestly.
But then you could also, like, the fun part is you could debate, like, it's immoral to spend under a certain amount because you're probably getting built for like unethical
some slave labor.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, same thing.
Again, I'm not pretending to understand all of that exactly, because I think sometimes we get in our brains that we understand everything about a certain thing that's happening in the world way, and we probably don't. But not to justify anything. I'm just saying we don't know. But yeah.
No, it's so I think the establishment is still firmly in place.
Sure.
You're going to get most of your information that way through, and then some of it's through some of the large scale retailers as well. When you get to Sweetwater's and Guitar Center's epic distribution chains, it's like, that's what, we all grew up on that, like with the Musician's Friend catalog.
God, yes.
And then the Sweetwater catalog kind of sucked back in the day because it was just like recording gear.
It didn't have that much stuff. Yeah, and it like one little page guitars.
Like a freaking rack. But then you like, it's still like, if I get a physical copy of one of those things, it's still guitar nirvana. Yeah. I love it. Like, I can go on the website. That's awesome. It was neat when you watched that Sweetwater takeover from Musician's Friend as they were like the kings. It was like, whoop. That was a weird time in history. No, so I think your establishment is firmly in place with the massive retailers, the massive manufacturers, and then their ability to spread information is so much greater through not just their own sources and all of the guitar type of publications, but also now that all the small YouTubers have become sort of outlets of their advertising scheme. So that has almost been co-opted into the part of that establishment in some ways. Strange, right?
Yeah, you also have all these smaller YouTube channels who are like kind of live to call out anything that is even remotely weird or odd or maybe not the most ethical. So, you know, it all kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah, that was fun when the Standard Series came out from Fender, when people were just
God.
like, woo, watch the Wild West. We got into it a little bit too. We had a little fun. We did a launch on it, and then we did a video later. You can go back on our channel, like taking some of the guitars apart and seeing how some of
they were different.
The electronics are different inside. You know, it's.
Do you care? I don't know.
Oh yeah, we cared because like we sell them.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to know what we're selling exactly. But like, can we take apart every guitar that comes through here like that?
No,
you don't do that. Sweetwater doesn't do that. You check them, inspect them, make sure it works.
Right.
You know, and then but you're not gonna like disassemble and take the neck off and take the
God, that'd
check
be
all
funny,
the pots.
right?
And
Yeah. No.
that'd be lunacy. So unfortunately, I think we're still in the hands of the establishment. It's still the power thing. But the good news is things have fractured quite a bit, and the power has been sort of handed off to those of you who are watching this and watching other YouTube channels that have like honest and fair assessments of what's going on out there. It's pretty cool. You know, there's some great YouTubers out there that you should keep your eye on that are sort of changing the scope of how this whole industry is shaped. I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, at least, you know, in this scenario, the establishment are corporations and they are trying to sell you things. Like, it's pretty clear cut. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always that clear cut with different.
Well, I mean, like
forms of
we're a
the
guitar shop again,
Yeah.
like and like we want to sell as many guitars and guitar amps and pedals and
Oddly enough.
as possible. But the whole point of this YouTube channel is not to really do that. It's just to kind of have fun and talk about what we like to talk about.
Well, yeah, and we want to sell good ones that we like and think are fun. So
Yeah,
same.
Good.
kind of
Really
deal.
expensive ones, good. Really affordable, super cheap ones sometimes
Whatever.
too. It's great. That's the fun of what we do at Casino, and hopefully you found that fun out there too. So let us know in the comments below if you don't mind, like what you think and like who you get your sources of like sort of guitar information from now. Like how do you find new stuff? How do you sort of get an honest review before you lay down your hard-earned cash?
Reddit. I mean, maybe.
God, I was on the Reddit sphere the other night just like because I was getting so upset about watching this last season of The Last of Us. I know it's not the worst thing ever, but from season 1 to season 2 to watch that much of a drop off.
You were not happy.
Well, I played the games. I love the
Yeah.
games, and we used to have like parties at Derek's house for season 1. We go over there. The one night he cooked a steak.
God, that was good.
Barely cooked it too. It was like it was still mooing. And then we had like some
Right.
wine, I think, or something. I don't remember. I think we were drinking wine, red wine. I feel like. And watching it was like it was
Yes.
in the I don't know. I was on the Reddit sphere trying to figure out why does it look so bad. I know why the other parts are bad because the story's crap and the acting's crap. But like the color grading was all off, and like, that's where Reddit can be very helpful. And so
Yeah.
maybe it can helpful in your gears to stuff sometimes too. But color grading, I wish I didn't even know what that was. Derek's ruined me, bastard. Anyway, back to guitars. Let us know your thoughts. But most importantly, if you enjoy this content at all, please click like and subscribe.
And hit the bell.
And remember, whatever we say here is the most important
That's right.
stuff ever being said. It will
100%.
change your life.
Absolutely
if you watch
factual.
Life-changing, probably world-changing. I would have your whole family come and watch this.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure they see it
If you're not a selfish person, if you care about your family
and the world.
and the world.
That's what you should do. So, yay to the establishment. They still own us all. We'll keep fighting that fight a little bit longer. Love you guys. Thanks for joining. Peace be with you.